My name is Rev Donna Maurer, and I'm the spiritual leader of the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living in Amado, Arizona. And I'm here today on YouTube with our music director, Heather O'Day, and John Lopez, who is our practitioner of the day. We thank you for sharing your time with us, and Heather will ring the bells that open our service.
Hello, my name is Heather O'Day, and I'm the music director at the Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living. Let's begin the service today with bells and celebration.
Hello, and join me now in our opening invocation. Let's know together that God is all there is, everywhere present, filling all space, and that this spirit, this one mind, lives, moves, and has its being in and through me and you, and in and through and as today's service through the beautiful spirit-inspired music of Heather O'Day and the spirit-inspired words of Rev Donna. I know that this service is already perfect, whole, and complete. And join me in anchoring this by saying together, and so it is.
Thank you, John. This month we have been working on a song that only has 2 verses, actually. And today is the day that we put it all together in a song called Who You Really Are by my friends Sue Riley and Richard McDeesey. Well, I know who you really are. I see it in your eyes. Oh, you are a shining star. I know who you really are. I know who you're here to be. I see it in your eyes. A light for the world to see. I know who you're here to be. You're here to be the one. You're here to make it fun. You've really got my head spinning. You brighten every room. You always leave too soon. And this is just the beginning. Well, I know who you really are. I see it in your eyes. Oh, you are a shining star. I know who you really are. You are incredible, so unforgettable, the one that everyone's eyeing. You are an awesome friend, and so magnificent, and there is just no denying. I know who you really are. I see it in your eyes. Oh, you are a shining star. I know who you really are. I know who you're here to be. I see it in your eyes. A light for the world to see. I know who you're here to be. I know who you're here to be.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, as you may know, our topics for the past month and a half have come from this delightful little book, Really Important Things, really important stuff my kids have taught me, by Cynthia Copeland Lewis. And Cynthia simply jotted down the one-liners from her kids that are not only cute, but if you look a bit deeper, contain wisdom that is true for all of us. So today, my topic from our sandbox wisdom is toads aren't ugly, they're just toads. You know, you and I are so quick to judge things as ugly or beautiful, good or bad, right or wrong. But sometimes upon closer scrutiny, that thing or experience we deemed ugly, bad, or wrong may not be that at all. Maybe it's just a toad being a toad, and a nice one at that. When I first moved to Florida, I visited a friend in a senior housing center. There was a single one-way road into the complex, and I was behind a man going very slowly. I grew agitated and I began really judging him harshly. You know, this man is too old to drive. Somebody should take his license away. My God, he's going even slower. I'm never going to get to my friend. Well, finally, he stopped in the middle of the road. He opened his door and walked to the front of his car. I couldn't see, but there was a turtle in the road, and the man had stopped to carry it across the road to get to its destination. Wow, I thought, what a nice man. Look at how he treats animals. He's really a cool guy. Well, the man hadn't changed at all, but my judgments had gone from apoplectic to ecstatic. Yeah, I'm sure you remember with me the wonderful crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin, whose life was cut short by a horrendous accident while he was filming. But his love of every kind of animal has stayed with me, and I remember watching his series, and he would pick up these huge, horrible, loathsome-looking insects and show it to the camera and say, "Isn't she a little beauty?" And at some point, I was able to see with those same eyes, you know, that there is beauty all around us. We've just learned to call it ugly. And that's because our mind is a judging machine. According to communication experts, we form judgments in about 4 seconds. And if not challenged by ourselves or someone else, they are lasting. You know, last week we talked a lot about changing our perception. And this week we're continuing that theme by looking at what judgments we hold, how we become aware of them, and if they are negative, how we can change them. And then ultimately move into that place of non-judgment known by the mystics as mindfulness. Everything that we experience is filtered, categorized, and dealt with in some automatic way. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. You know, it's the nature of our mind to judge. And often these judgments are helpful. They can help us be aware of those things that fill us up, that give us energy. They can help us understand what doesn't resonate with us and leaves us feeling drained. But when left unchecked, the judging mind is taxing and controlling. It takes significant energy to evaluate every experience we encounter. And when we're unaware that these judgments are influencing our behavior, we're just along for the ride. Like a marionette reacting to a puppeteer, we become trapped by our conditioned judgments and reactions. Dr. Phil's famous statement, "You can't change what you don't acknowledge," serves us here. We are constantly forming judgments in our head, and often it doesn't even register with us. So our first action is to become aware of our thoughts, aware of our judgments. I was reading a little book that's been on my shelf for a long time. It's called Love is the Answer, an anthology of stories from people in science of mind. And in it is a story by John Neendorf, who was editor of the Science of Mind magazine for many years. He calls his story The Windshield Theater, and it's a bit long, but bear with me because I think it's worth it. And he says, "Watching anonymous people is a fascinating pastime, like waiting in an automobile at a pedestrian crosswalk. There, for 15 or 20 seconds, we may freely observe those people who cross the street in front of us. And unlike most other situations where strangers encounter each other in public, this one permits us to stare quite openly without giving offense. Generally, pedestrians are not even aware of nearby drivers, and they do not care if they're being studied. In this 15-second theater of life, we observers have no basis for forming any meaningful evaluations of these passersby. But how frequently it happens that we form speculative opinions in response to some detail or characteristic we have noticed. That seedy old man must be on welfare and probably wouldn't take a job if you offered him one. There's a fellow with a scar on his face. I wonder if he gets used to people staring at him. Oh, wow, that's the ugliest person I ever saw. Bet he's got no friends. That teen looks so angry. I bet he's spoiling for a fight or looking for drugs. And then John writes, I continued these reactions, not placing much importance upon them, considering they were just mental bubbles, appearing, floating, popping, disappearing, forgotten. But there came a day when I realized that my characterizations of these anonymous people had absolutely nothing to do with them. Rather, I was witnessing the raw material of life and seeing what I chose to see. Not only were many of my visions critical and uncharitable, but because these people were utterly unknown to me, I knew that I was not evaluating them. I was evaluating myself, and that was not a comfortable awareness. Thus it was that I first decided to exercise a deliberate and conscious control over something even so fleeting as a random mental impression lasting no more than a fraction of a second. And I invented a new game. The next time I saw a shabbily dressed man with his toes telling through the sides of his shoes, I thought, I will no longer decide automatically that you are a bum. I say that you have just arrived in town, you are broke and friendless, but you are also determined to make the best of your life from now on, and you just got a temporary job, and you are very pleased with life. I could almost imagine that man's posture become a little more erect as he vanished from my sight. The man with a scar on his face. Let's make him a fireman who entered a flaming house, breaking through a glass panel to save the life of a child. He is so dear to all that know him that he is always surrounded by friends, laughter, and love. The man I deemed ugly, I see his beautiful eyes and study his long fingers and decide he is a concert pianist, inspiring students with his passion and talent and with his interest in them. The teenager, he isn't angry at all. He is lost in thought as he contemplates the responsibility that comes with the scholarship he has just won to the university of his dreams. It's a harmless game, the object of which is to create instant, virtuous mini biographies that erase negative impressions and replace them with positive ones. And if we invent stories which are slightly outrageous or melodramatic, no damage is done. We are not trying to transmit our fictions, nor are we attempting to bring about changes in those people. The focus of the game is always ourselves. It trains us mentally to anticipate goodness and virtue. It has the overall effect of raising our own consciousness as our world of the Windshield Theater becomes peopled with wonderful characters who have done wonderful things. And despite the fact that we're not aiming to transform those passersby, we should not underestimate the power of a good thought. All the world is, in fact, a stage. And when I am in the audience, who says my applause won't work some small magic on the players as they pass by? So after we become aware of our habits of judgment, our next step is to become mindful of them. And once we are mindful, like John Neendorf, we have the opportunity to consciously choose a happier, more productive story. And that leads us to mindfulness of non-judgment. And here we don't judge at all as either good or bad, John Kabat-Zinn says mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and without judgment. So in practicing that non-judgment, there's no longer anything to be done about the present moment. No grasping for more, no resisting what's there, no ignoring of life's experiences. When we stop trying to react to our experience, we can open up to it completely. And by simply being in the moment, we awaken to everything around us. It means seeing each judgment as a cloud going by without our need to interfere, to fix, or to act. We awaken to the reality that the present moment is whole as it is. We don't need to do anything or go anywhere. We just have to simply be. Non-judgment isn't about stopping judgments from ever arising, because that's impossible. It is the nature of the mind to judge. But instead, it's about changing our relationship to our judgments. It's seeing them as temporary thoughts, moving gently through our mind and allowing them to pass without our need to jump in. And this allowing moves us into a sense of peace and freedom. We open up to more of life's beauty, and we can see that toads are simply toads. And in that toadship, there is beauty, harmony, and wonder. Non-judgment helps us cultivate a peaceful mind. It helps us see clearly. When we are reacting to our judgments, we cannot see the situations or experiences as they actually are. Most of us have a meditation practice that helps us let go of outer experiences and move to an inner peace. But when we're not in meditation, we can continue the process. We simply notice when judgments arise, witness whatever comes up in the body or mind in conjunction with that judgment, recognize the thoughts that are there without denouncing them or clinging to them. Without practicing non-judgment, we cannot be mindful. But when we are, it opens us up to a whole new dimension of life's experience. Like the Windshield Theater, our minds become joy-filled as we see with new eyes and through new filters. And we find that a toad is not ugly. It's simply a toad. And we see it for what it is, so we can say with Steve Irwin, isn't she a little beauty? Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Rev Donna. You know, when she told me that the topic for this week would be a toad is just a toad, it's not ugly, I thought about a couple of different songs. It's not easy being green. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. But really, it's about the beauty in all of us and recognizing that as a mirror in others. And I'd like to invite you to chant with me. I wrote this chant during the pandemic, like during the first maybe month or so of quarantine. It goes like this. I see the beauty of you. I feel the joy of you. I know the grace of you. You are magnificent. Sing that with me. I see the beauty of you. I feel the joy of you. I know the grace of you. You are magnificent. And you change it to I see the beauty in me. I I see the beauty of me. I feel the joy of me. I know the grace of me, and I am magnificent. Do that one again. Place your hand on your heart. I see the beauty of me. I know the joy of me. I know the grace of me. I am magnificent. Now we see the beauty of us together, reflecting off of each other. We see the beauty of us. We feel the joy of us. We know the grace of us, and we are magnificent. We see the beauty of us. We feel the joy of us. We know the grace of us. We are magnificent. We are magnificent. You are magnificent. I am magnificent.
Thank you, Heather. And thank you for joining us today. We would like to continue our messages with you, and so we'd greatly appreciate your financial support. Please visit our website, cslaz.org, and click on the donate button. We do thank you so much for your consideration. And now I turn our services over to John for our closing affirmative prayer.
Thank you, Donna. And so join with me now in knowing the oneness and perfection and the complete unconditional allowing to be of God, in which there is no judgment. Take my words as I speak in the first person as your own. I know, declare, and affirm that as I judge, I am mindful of my judgments and know that they are not necessarily the truth, that beneath them is the oneness, the beauty, the perfection, the color, and the magnificence of life, of the universe. And that as we perceive these, we release all judgment and know that all is well at all times. For this, I am so very grateful, and I anchor my words by saying, and so it is.